In April, I went on my third house hunting trip to France, and over the course of 3 weeks, I saw 10 properties. And then my husband joined me to see some of the strong contenders for himself. And we actually ended up putting in an offer on a house. I'll be sharing more about that process here on this channel, but in the meantime, over the next few weeks, I'll be sharing tours of some of my favorite houses that we saw, most of which are actually still for sale. So, if you've been dreaming of buying a house in France, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss a single tour. The house that you're about to see was actually once the mayor's house in a small hamlet in the Deux Sevres region of France, just north of the Charente-Maritime and about a 2-hour train ride south of Paris. The house is very private with a large property, including an in-ground pool, and it features 800-year-old stone floors that were salvaged from a nearby abbey. It was one of the largest and most affordable properties that we saw, with 2,500 square feet of living space, 4 bedrooms, 4 fireplaces, and plenty of charm and character. It's listed at just 260,000 euro, and it's still for sale. Let's jump into the tour, and don't forget to check out the listing linked in the description box below. So here we are behind the house, and this piece of property actually belongs to the house. And here we have a gate that leads you to the driveway and to the garage. And you can see it's a pretty secluded spot. This is the summer kitchen that could be renovated into a little separate gîte. And here we have the front of the house with a giant wisteria that was just beginning to bloom and some shutters that needed a little bit of refurbishment. The house has a central entranceway that branches off into 2 directions. To the left, you have 2 reception rooms that are both really spacious. They each have a fireplace and original wood floors. This first one also had a lovely ceiling medallion. There is a world in which you could turn this room into a dining room and keep the room beyond that we're just walking into now as a living room. This room has a working fireplace that has a marble mantle, and then you can see the exposed beams in the ceiling. It's also been decorated with mid-century modern furniture, which I think really helps emphasize the height of the ceilings in here. And as you can see, there's a big window looking out onto the pool and a door that takes you out to the garden. Here's another view of how spacious these rooms were. I would say that they were each easily 30 square meters or about 300 square feet. So here we are looking out to the pool, and it was unfortunately a rainy day, but later on in the video we went back to see the house again, and I have some footage of it in the sunshine. The spaciousness and brightness of this house was one of my favorite things about it. And here you can see towards the other side of the house. And we're going to cross through the entranceway and go see that side of the house. And here you can see the view out to the garden and the pond from this reception room. Going back into the entranceway, these are the 800-year-old stone floors that were salvaged from a nearby abbey and the original staircase banister from the 1800s. These floors were actually salvaged in the 1800s, so they've already been in place for a while. And then here you have a little powder room that was constructed under the staircase to create a second toilet for this house. Moving into this room that has these stone floors, I actually thought that what might be a good thing to do in this room was turn it into the kitchen. You'll see the kitchen shortly, and it needs to be refurbished. But if you made this into a sort of standalone cabinets kitchen and you made the room behind us into a dining room, you could have a very spacious living area and then leave the back kitchen to attach to the gîte and expand that space a little bit. So here we are going back into the existing kitchen, which you can see was probably renovated in the 80s and could use an update. It's also somewhat small, but if you used it as the kitchen for the secondary living space, it would be pretty spacious, and we're about to go into that secondary living space, so you'll see what that could look like. And here again is the property that the owners own across the street. So going into the second living area, you can see it's being used as a utility room and laundry space, but I thought that you could convert this into a living room, have the room behind you be a kitchen, and then upstairs there's room for a lofted bedroom. And here you see that it has its own entrance, so you could keep it separate from the rest of the house. So going up the stairs, it's a little bit dark up here, and the ceiling height is quite low. It's only about 5 feet, but you could make it a loft bedroom, and there used to be skylights in this area that were closed up when the roof was repaired, but you could open them up again to create some more light. Now we're back in the main house and we're going up to the second floor. The floors up here have been redone and they are a solid oak herringbone, which is really nice. This is the first bedroom. Again, it's easily 30 square meters. It's huge and it has another marble fireplace here. It was being used as a pottery studio because the owners here, there were only 2 of them, so it was a lot of space for 2 people, but you could envision doing a lot with this space. And then again, here we have a view out to the garden from the window. This is only half the garden, by the way. So this is the view down the hallway. You can see it was a really long house. To our right, we have the original staircase, and then to our left, we have a smaller guest bedroom. It still fit a double bed, but was considerably smaller than the bedroom we were just in. And then going back out to the hallway, we enter the main bathroom. It is a 4-piece bathroom, and it's a little bit dated, but it's very bright and fully functional. And then next door to this room, we actually have a shower room that's just a shower and a sink. And this room, I was thinking we could probably renovate into a large bathroom by stealing a little bit of space from the walk-in closet that is next door to it, which you'll see shortly. But first, let's go back across the hall to the second guest bedroom, which is another smaller one, but again, you could fit a double bed in here. It's currently set up as an office and has a rather large storage unit in it that you could remove because it's not built in. And then across the hall from this guest room, you have the very large walk-in closet, which I think you could turn into a larger bathroom and make the closet smaller, because the primary bedroom we're walking into right now is also about 30 meters squared and has quite a bit of built-in storage already. That's a king-size bed you're seeing there. So you definitely don't need a separate walk-in closet. And this room had a beautiful Juliet balcony that looked over the pool. Again, we were seeing this house on a rainy day, so the pool was closed up. It was just the beginning of spring, mid-April. But we went back to see it a couple weeks later and they had the pool open. There is the land that the owners own across the street, and here is the pool open on a sunny day. Now we're out in the garden to see the property. It had a very large property, over 1,000 square meters. This is the house within the property. And then it had a couple outbuildings. The owners had built a chicken coop. And you were next door to a farm with some farm fields. So it was pretty private and very quiet and had some beautiful views. There were also a lot of roses in the garden. You can see the facade of the house needs a little bit of freshening up, but it really has that French charm we were looking for. And here is another view of the pool looking back towards the house. A very pretty, secluded property. So what did you think? Leave me a comment below and let me know whether you would consider buying this beautiful property in Deux Sevres. And tune in next week when I take us back down to the Mediterranean for another house tour in the south of France. Until then, thanks for watching, and I hope you're letting yourself dream big and taking action to make those dreams a reality.